All right. Gary Russell Jr. calls out Adrien Broner, says AB can get it too. He's feeling really good, weighing around 130 pounds. Man, it's a little dude. And so he says he wants AB. Let's see if this slick southpaw can actually get somebody in the ring with him. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Gary Russell Jr., one of my top 10 pound for pound fighters in the world, has been a champion longer than all about one person in the sport of boxing. Held the same belt longer than just, I think, everybody except for that little itty bitty dude down there at 100, Midlothian at 105 pounds. So he's a long reigning champion at 135 pounds, 126 pounds. And he says that he is willing to fight Adrien Broner. We all knew who Adrien Broner is. Adrien the problem Broner, or actually Adrien having a problem getting the win Broner in the last, I think somebody counted it like 1,200 days since it's been a few years since he's got a win. Right? He keeps getting in big fights, but he keeps losing. And that is because he's got a very big name and he puts out good work in those fights. None of the fights are blowouts. He's not running around getting knocked out. It's just he's losing fights because he's fighting bigger guys and he doesn't let his hands go, right? But that's the story of Adrien Broner. Now, what Gary Russell Jr. said he's willing to do is he's willing to help Adrien Broner out of that problem and let him fight a guy that is a lot smaller than him. Now, Gary Russell Jr. at 126, I think at his biggest, he's a 130 pounder. Adrien Broner in his best is a 135 pounder, and who right now probably needs to fight somewhere around 140 pounds. So I don't even know where that fight would be made. You know, whether it would be in a catch weight somewhere around 100. He'd probably have to fight Adrien Broner at 140 pounds. Now, if the fight were to happen and Gary Russell Jr. was able to pull that off, yeah, dude, you would have to shoot that dude way up the pound for pound list because he's given up a lot to Adrien Broner. He's given up length, he's given up size, he's given up power. He's just given up a lot. And if that little dude can beat Adrien Broner, even at this stage of Adrien Broner's career, you'd have to sit back and look and say, man, that dude right there, that's a special fighter at 130 pounds. Now, Gary Russell Jr., I think, is without a doubt, one of the most underrated fighters, in all of boxing. I don't understand how people in ESPN and people on Ring Magazine do not have this guy higher in, number one, even have him on the pound for pound list up there, because the dude is small enough where, hey man, these Monster Inoue can get up there to 126 pounds. Monster Inoue frame wise is bigger than Gary Russell Jr. He's taller and he's longer than Gary Russell Jr. He's staying, and I think right now, what is he at 122 pounds right now? He's only 4 pounds away. Come on and move up there to 126 and get handled up by Gary Russell Jr. Easy money style. But Gary Russell Jr.'s got a big problem. And the reason why he can't get, there's a different reason why they're not ranking him that high. Because I think anybody with two eyes can see he deserves it. The reason he ain't getting the fight, one of the reasons is he's not getting the fights. And that is the reason he's not getting the fights is because a whole bunch of people don't know what his name is. And I don't mean fighter, and I don't mean fans. I'm not saying that boxing fans don't know his name. I'm saying that people around his weight class act like they don't know his name. Shakur Stevenson acting like he don't. I know somebody's told me he said it, but Shakur Stevenson and Andre Ward Bob Arum have zero plans of putting Shakur Stevenson in with Gary Russell Jr. to unify a belt at 126 pounds. Zero plans. Even though Gary Russell Jr. has said himself that he thinks that the only guy at 126 pounds that would have enough nerve to fight him would be Shakur Stevenson. Yet and still, I don't see any conversations going on. At least when I hear Andre Ward speak, I hear Bob Arum speak. I never hear James Prince speak. But I didn't hear Gary Russell coming out of their mouth. I know I heard Josh Warrington come out of their mouths. I know that they were pushing. They're like, if I can't get this Josh Warrington fight, I'm going to have to move up to 130 pounds because, that's the big fight for us is the Josh Warrington fight. I never heard them say anything about fighting Gary Russell Jr. And I don't want to hear the nonsense about the fight not being big because Gary Russell Jr. is out of DC and Shakur Stevenson's out of New Jersey. What's the problem? Those are two East Coast cities. DC and New Jersey ain't very far away. That's a couple hours away tops. So you got a fan base. You got a big fan base in DC for Gary Russell Jr. People know who Gary Russell Jr. is in DC. In Newark, New Jersey, people know who Shakur Stevenson is. And so it seems like it would be great for a regional battle. You should be able to find a place in New York. It would sell out in New York. It would sell out in DC. It would sell more than likely. It would sell out in Newark, New Jersey. So because there's plenty of people. There's plenty of people in that same demographic in that area who have been following Gary Russell Jr. for a long time. If Robert Easter Jr. can sell out in was it Toledo, Ohio? I can't remember. Is he from Toledo? I think he might be from Toledo. If he's not from Toledo, please forgive me. But he was selling out big spots in Toledo. Robert Easter Jr. So you can't tell me Robert Easter Jr. versus Dennis Shafakoff can sell out in Toledo, Ohio, but you can't get Shakur Stevenson and Gary Russell Jr. To do big numbers in DC or to do big, and probably the better spot would be in DC because, there's more people in DC than I think there's more people in DC than there is Newark. But yeah, you get the Baltimore area, you get the whole DMV, right? So that's the DC, Maryland, Virginia, and the parts that border DC. What's wrong with that fight? People say, we need people to put butts in the seat. The combination of those two guys would put butts in the seat. I'll tell you what the problem with that is. Gary Russell Jr. may beat Shakur Stevenson. Just like, and for specifically the reason, and for the specific reason that Andre Ward, Tim Bradley, and the ESPN crew said that it would be tough for Shakur Stevenson to get fights. That he's a black, slick southpaw. Well, who fits that description to a T? Black, slick, southpaw, Gary Russell Jr. Same thing as Guillermo Rigondeaux. These people, they do not want to see one of these guys lose to a fighter like that, which is highly, highly possible, if not probable. At this point in time, I don't believe Shakur Stevenson can beat Gary Russell Jr. At this point in time. That maybe a little bit down the road, I think he can. He'll be able to. I do believe I think he's the bigger guy. He's obviously the much younger guy. Highly skilled, definitely. I agree with what Andre Ward says about his assessment, but I think that right now they just believe that he's not ready for a fight with Gary Russell Jr. And it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. Same thing goes for Josh Warrington. Same thing goes for Leo Santa Cruz. Same thing goes for every one of these dudes that have been at that weight class and act like they have no clue who he is. In fact, they act like they don't know who the slick southpaws are at 122 or 126 pounds. So it's a shame that Gary Russell Jr. finds himself in this situation. Now, people say, well, Gary doesn't fight long. He just doesn't fight enough. He only fights one time a year. Well, if he only fights one time a year, that should make him even more easy money, shouldn't it? Should make it even more easy money if he's inactive and he only fights once a year. And you got a guy that's fighting 2-3 times a year. He should be able to come in there and knock off the inactive Gary Russell Jr. What difference does it make how many fights Gary Russell Jr. has had? Gary Russell Jr.'s got the WBC belt, and he's got at least 5 title defenses because he's been there for over 5 years. But somehow people just keep forgetting that he exists. So it's like necessary for him to have to go in order for him to be able to get a significant fight against these guys. He's going to have to go all the way up to 140 pounds or something like that. And tell me that we have not seen and heard that type of stuff before, where you have a fighter like that that just cannot get a fight because these dudes are chicken shit. They don't want to have to deal with the southpaw stance. They don't want to deal with the fact that the guy might be very, very hard to hit and be able to counter you at the same time. So you know, for Gary Russell Jr., I'm hoping that the Adrien Broner fight happens, man. I wouldn't mind that at all, dude. Now, I don't know if Gary Russell Jr. can pull that fight off. I don't, quite honestly, I don't think he can. But hey, that right there could be a situation where it could get his name out there more. It would be a big fight because Adrien Broner is included in it. And who knows, man, eventually, before he gets 40, he'll be able to get some of these fights. Now, that's another good reason for him to be inactive. He's not taking nearly the type of punishment because maybe he figures, well, they're going to try to age me out. So I'm going to make sure I'm nice and fresh for one of these idiots try to get up in the ring with me when I wax him. Now, I think Gary Russell Jr. is the best fighter below the weight of 135 pounds. So, and that's why I have him up there on that high on my pound for pound list. I certainly hope he gets the opportunity to prove to other people that he belongs there. In this Adrien Broner fight, hey, that can work. If that's how it goes and it works out like that, it works out like that. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.